All right, so I'm gonna call this meeting of the Lake County E911 Authority to order. The time is now 10:13. It's January 9th, 2026. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda?
Nope.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of approving today's agenda?
Aye.
All right, the agenda is approved. First, Max will roll through our director reports and we'll get back to you. So, I'll start off. The only thing I have for the group is that we, in our transition with Claire leaving and finding the new OEM director, today, where we're at in that phase is, Candace, who is filling in that role, has resigned as a director from the authority board. And, once, we get the paperwork from Gary, our new OEM director, to the BOCC will appoint you or your representative to the E911 Authority Board as a director for that OEM position. So still in transition to that, and hopefully next meeting we'll have you or whoever you decide to nominate, and the board approves, sitting on the board. That's all I have. Chief Daly.
I don't have anything.
Chief Troker.
Nothing.
Director Grantham. Okay, we'll move on to public comments. If anybody online or in the room wishing to speak, we have 3 minutes for the comment section, and not including questions, but we'd love to hear your comments. I know, Max, you're here for that purpose, so if you want to start us off, go ahead.
Well, welcome, Gary. It's always nice to see a new face. I wanted to recognize everyone for Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. I feel like that, since I'm in the room, it's important. It is today.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to remind everybody that you, as law enforcement and fire and rescue personnel, have a wide range of discretion on who you contract for things like local community support and mental health and crisis services. There's those of us like myself and several others in town that have private businesses that, man, we're breaking down doors trying to get somebody to help us, let us serve Lake County for any type of crisis and support services. I don't know, it seems like this is an industry problem, that it's very hard to get crisis going in places, but we know that you all care, and it's a new year and a new budget, so maybe there's some room. That's all I got.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Max.
Thank you.
Cohen. All right, well, we'll close out public comment, move on to new business and discussion. And we have our first item is discussion with Jackie. Jackie, thanks for being with us today. What do you have for us? We'll get back to that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I sent a report last week, but I'll just go through it real quick.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I did get the lines, the line count inventory, or reconciliation in. There were 44 providers that were remitting your emergency telephone charge, which is the local surcharge. And it looks like from comparing 2024 to 2025 so far, it looks like you may see a 2.4% increase in line counts, which means that should equate to about 2% in money as well. You got about 84,000 lines that were reported, and that's different than, of course, the money. That's the actual, I'm paying per line, and this is how many lines I have. I reviewed the software and equipment needs of the center. We will be getting budgetary quotes to come up with a plan, and I know Sarah will go into this further. Because if we want to increase the surcharge above its threshold, we'll need a solid budget on what you absolutely have to have and need, and what your budget looks like. And so I put together a spreadsheet. I also sent that out. And if you guys need me to share any of that, please let me know. I can. But I did put a spreadsheet together on the needs for the budget, and we're looking into trying to get some budgetary quotes. I did reach out to the Colorado Enterprise Service Board. They have not completely set their grant funding procedures up yet. They're working on that this month, I guess, in their meeting. They won't really have money until probably mid-year, because they start collecting in February, so they'll start seeing money in March, and therefore, it'll kind of accumulate through the year. So they may be an opportunity to get some funding for things you need. I also sent Sarah a grant opportunity that's due on the 16th. I'm sure she'll talk about that a little bit so that maybe you could get some more funding for your EMD, which is highly needed. Let's see. I did meet with Sarah and the GIS professional at Lake County. There's a lot of work to be done there, but I asked her to please let us know what she can do in-house and what might need to happen. You might need to hire a contractor or something to get you moving and going. I think I've told you guys, the GIS routing is going to start in March. And right now, all they need is a boundary, which we have. So that's good news. So at the moment, that's all they need. I do have a kickoff meeting, and Sarah, I copied you on that meeting invite for next Tuesday for the GIS routing through the tariff. And let's see. Oh, I sent sample letters of authority. I will need letters of authority for the line counts and to gather your cell site data. I want to make sure we have a good cell site data layer, and basically I have to ask them for their cell sectors. And I am still working on finding out who is currently signed up as your MSAG coordinator so we can figure out where those routing sheets have been going. But I will need those 2 letters, and in my email I sent sample letters from other agencies. So you just need to copy paste or whatever you need to do there.
Jackie,
Are
did you
there,
say MSAC or MSA?
I'm sorry, I said MSAG and it stands for Master Street Address Guide. I apologize.
No, that's
Um,
okay. I'm used to
it's
MSAC being in the emergency world, so yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's MSAG, and it's basically the tabular database that your 911 calls, your landline 911 calls are currently being routed by. Even with GIS routing coming, your MSAG will still route the landline calls through that tabular database.
Okay.
Um, do you guys have any questions for me now, or
Jackie, this is Sarah. I did get an email from Verizon, and I was just trying to find it. They're wanting to have an authorized letter as to, or documentation proof as to why the charge is going up. So when I find it, I will send it to the board and to you, because I obviously don't have that, but not sure if that's something you can assist us with.
I can. We might need to just write a letter from the board that you approve the surcharge increase, because I didn't attach that letter to my email. You approved it, I think, in November or December, one of your meetings. So I just need a letter from the board that basically says we increase this fee to match the state surcharge threshold.
Yeah, I'll find that letter or the email because they were asking about the proof from the state's level as well. So
okay, yeah. Send that to me, and I'll put a draft letter together for I guess whomever needs to sign it. I'll put a draft letter together and get it out to you guys so that it can get signed, because I have had a couple other companies reach out to me asking for the letter, even though the state statute does only require the email notification. So that's anyway, but I'll follow up with that. If you'll send me that email, that'd be great.
awesome. Yep, as soon as I find it,
Okay.
coming your way.
Thanks, Sarah.
Jackie, first of all, thank you very much, and then to the board members, my apologies, I realized all that information Jackie's talking about was sent just to me and Sarah, and I didn't forward it, so I just did that now, so you guys have those who might not know exactly what she's talking about, but she did a great write-up on everything. I just sent it to everybody so you guys can review in more detail, so thanks for sending all that. Thanks for the GIS work. I know it's been hot on our mind for years now, and it's great to see some progress happening there. Jackie, question for you on the PUC request that we're gonna work on for this next go around. You mentioned some budget explanation on why we're gonna do that. What else do you need from us besides the equipment work you're doing on that topic?
Basically, I will just need the budgetary quotes on that software that we want to purchase, and then I'll need, of course, your full budget that You have it. I just need your full budget and I need to figure out how much more you're going to need and how much your surcharge is gonna cover at the threshold. Which I can figure out all that once I have all your complete budget, to me. And then we can put together the application for the PUC.
Awesome. Our next agenda item is gonna go over an amendment to our 2026 budget, to address the tariffs and the extra surcharges you brought to our attention. So I'll send you that, after this meeting, and if you need any more details than that, let me know and we can, work that up for you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Sheriff.
And then the letters you sent, does that need to come from me as the chair of the authority board, or is that something Sarah can sign and complete, or, that's letters of authority you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, the letters of authority can come from your authority board since you collect the surcharge.
Okay. Great.
And then the wireless information can come from either you or your comm center or the authority. It doesn't really matter on that one.
Oh, okay.
But on the
Gotcha.
line counts, it does need to come from the authority board.
Okay, great, I'll get that done also. And then you mentioned the 2.4% increase. I'm curious if there's a way we can start drawing that into the impact on our budget projection for revenue in 2026.
Yes, I was gonna work with that. You won't have a full, complete, I've received this much cash until the end of March.
Okay,
And once we have that, I've received this much for the calendar year, then we can make sure that projection that I did with the line counts matches. And yes, put it into your budget for 2027.
okay, great. That's all I had. Thank you.
Uh-huh, thank you.
Any questions, Gary? All right, Jackie, anything else for us before we move on?
That's all I have, and I'll be certainly in touch and working with you guys closely. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, move on to item number 2, which is discussion and consideration of the budget amendment for 2026. Just briefly, and Jeremiah, if you don't mind, while I'm going through this, I sent it in an email to the BOCC email. If you can pull up those 2 documents and I can show you guys the changes that were made. But as I just mentioned, Jackie brought to our attention in our last meeting, I believe it was, or the one before, that there's all our E911, or excuse me, our 911 lines have a, yeah, if you can open both. Yeah, and I'll just show the difference. There's tariffs that affect those. We have 3 of them. Jackie did the math for us. So the increase in costs that we're planning for 2026 was $5,489.64. However, there was a change to the surcharge to offset that precisely. So it changes our numbers. It doesn't change our projection for the intergovernmental agreement. So there's no changes to what all our agencies already approved and are expecting to pay into dispatch this year. But we just wanted to make sure down to the penny that our final approved budget for 2026 reflects all that. So it's kind of late notice. We did get all these numbers over to Lake County Finance. They plugged it into their budget, which they're submitting to DOLA on our behalf. And so what we approve as a board will line up directly, penny for penny, to what the county has to. So a lot of extra steps there, being a separate entity here, but we're in alignment now. So again, thankful for Jackie catching that, because I don't think we would have caught that. So just to show you guys, if you go back to the other document, the one that's dated for our last meeting, this was last meeting, these are the numbers that we presented. Everything remains the same except for the 2 line items that are affected by the tariffs and the extra surcharge. So last month, we presented an emergency telephone charge of $232,900.56. And if you go back to the other document, thank you. You were driving really well. So you'll see this increase of that $5,489.64, which is added here. And then again, to offset that, this is in the revenue side. You can see in our telephone charges, we had $50,000 projected. And I added that $5,489.64 here to the telephone line.
Okay.
So we'll see increasing both revenue and expenses to the same penny. Everything else remained the same, nothing else was touched. And so this is the request today, is to go ahead and approve this amendment to the budget for 2026.
All right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, all in favor of approving the 2026 budget amendment?
Aye.
Aye. All right, easy enough. Thanks, guys, for your patience on that, but we got everything
Thank you,
squared
Jackie.
away. Yeah, that was a great catch. Right, close that out. All right, Jen, I'm giving you back. I'm gonna press the wrong buttons. All right, we'll move on to item number 3, which is discussion on Central Square, led by Director Beard. Sarah?
Awesome. So for those of you that have not yet seen it, and I was planning on being in person, so I will make sure Chief Chalka and Bailey, you guys get a copy of this pamphlet book that they gave us. But we are looking at Central Square in 2 components. The first component is using them as our phone system for both the admin and our 911 call handling. I did confirm with them already that they do have the ability to pull the raw Annie Alley and the partial IMEI data after our bomb threat incident. That was something that was being requested, and CallWorks said that they didn't have that capability, which they should be able to pull that raw data information. CallWorks confirmed that is something that they can pull, and that they do. I have used CallWorks extensively, and so I know what they're capable of. I think it would really streamline our dispatchers as well. We'll be able to tie their phone system into our headsets, which I think will just streamline how dispatch operates overall. The other component we're looking at is CallWorks as our CAD system. And so it's very user-friendly on the dispatch side. There's a lot of different programs that they have. So they have an RMS system, they have a jail system within it, as well as in the patrol side. And then on the fire and EMS side, they do have the ability to create cases. They have different call for service numbers. And so there's a lot of different packages that CallWorks offers. And so they are really wanting to come out personally to our center, see our center, but they want to meet with each division and kind of show you what they have to offer, what it would look like on your guys' side, on the MDT side, as well as the jail component and kind of that reporting system side. So overall, my request is to have 2 separate quotes for them. One kind of after everybody meets with them, if that's something they're interested in moving to, what that looks like, and then just the call handling side. So if we're only wanting to move with call handling, we have that quote separate from it being a joint one. Something that they also work well with is active 911. Which I know is something that the fire department's looking at. It also sounds like a couple other entities are looking at active 911 as well. And they also work with Power DMS, which is what we're wanting to use for our training and our SOP stuff within dispatch. So Central Square already works very closely with both of those agencies, and so I know that they work correctly when we're looking at how it would work as a whole in our system. Any questions on Central Square?
Do you have a rough idea on how much that would be?
I don't, because they have different packages. So they won't charge us to have their 2 salespeople come out and meet with you guys to show you what those were. So it really depends on the package that you're looking at. She was working on getting me a quote with just the call handling side, because that's kind of really critical for us right now. But it really depends on if we're looking at it as just dispatch utilizing it, or if we're incorporating RMS and the jail side of things into it.
Sheriff, you're more
Yeah.
well versed in the the budget itself, do we have wiggle room in there anywhere for something that?
So this would be a
might come up like this?
replacement of services that we did budget for.
Okay.
So, and then to Sarah's point, where, you know, they offer different packages because you know, they do different roles and responsibilities with dispatch, and then law enforcement are the big ones. So it would, if we can just keep this focused on dispatch with the quoting side of things, because right now what we're using is the Motorola Flex software. So Sarah, if you don't mind, as you're going through this, let's dig into the paperwork and contracts that we have with Motorola Flex currently. I can give you those figures too, so when we start doing cost comparisons, we can say, you know, this is what we budgeted for Flex, how does this relate to Central Square in comparison? And also, if you don't mind asking Central Square if they would do a cost split. So I know they have different packages, but what we would look for is how much would it cost to do Central Square for our phones, E911 CAD system, and then separate those costs for each different entity that would use it. So we'd want to know how much it costs for the Lake County Sheriff's Office to use it from RMS, Leadville PD if they wanted to switch from Flex to that RMS. Just so we have clarity on how that all looks. That'll really help with the decision making.
Yep, yeah, I can do that. Something that Central Square does too, so we wouldn't be implementing this for another 6 to 12 months. And that's because it's how quickly we move, right, on some of our stuff. The other thing that they don't do an initial cost. So theirs is done by like mile markers. So once they get to a certain point in the setup, then you pay so much. And then when you get to the next phase, then you pay that next set of fees instead of everything kind of being an initial cost and then maintaining after that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be happy to sit down with you and go over those Motorola numbers. So we can have a really good cost comparison.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay. That's all I had.
With that being said, is there a time frame that you guys would like Central Square to come out and meet with everybody? Initially, I kind of suggested the beginning of February, but I know they want to meet with EMS, PD, SO, and fire, and then dispatch.
Is that something that we can just do in one of our board meetings?
That's what I was thinking.
Just make it for the February board meeting.
Yeah.
Sure. Would that be
awesome.
so do the February board meeting?
Yeah, I think so. I will give them the dates and let them know.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so it's gonna be the 6th.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes.
Any other questions on Central Square specifically?
Nope.
Offhand, no.
Cool. Thanks, Sarah. Well, you own the rest of the meeting. We'll move on to number 4 for you. It's Pro QA EMD update. Go ahead.
So, as some of you know, I've asked, we're asking the Healthcare Coalition. We have so much funding that we have to burn by July 1st. And so, kind of talking to some of the board members on the Southern Colorado Healthcare Coalition about some funding. So as of right now, Lake County is the only county in this South Central region that doesn't have EMD capabilities. And that EMD stuff really impacts pre-hospital, and it truly impacts patient outcomes when they hit the hospital. So when I kind of explained that a little bit to them, it sounds like it would be very easy to get some funding from the Healthcare Coalition to help lower that initial cost. So I have put together a proposal that we will be sending members and boards asking for a minimum of $20,000. So they have roughly $55,000 that they have to burn, whether that's through exercises or through programs. That's not already been included in some of the other stuff that they're dabbling in, such as in Pulsera and other items. So I know it's not a ton of money, but $20,000 would really help lower our initial cost for Pro QA from $99,132 and some odd cents to $79,000. And then with that extra grant opportunity that Jackie sent me, hoping to then lower it even more from that. So if we get approval from the Healthcare Coalition and any money from that 911 grant that Jackie sent me, the idea is then we would have less money that the board would have to come up with to pay for that initial cost. Everything after the initial year for the next 2 to 5 years would be $20,400 for the next 2 to 5 years after that. So it's a locked fee that or price that we're in for that 5 years, so nothing increases while we're using it. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I have the proposal drafted. We're just now waiting for our Healthcare Coalition meeting to ask them for that.
And Sarah and I are both the co-chairs of the executive council for that. So it's been a little bit of sway over it.
There's some strong representation.
Exactly.
Any idea or expectations of what we could get from that grant that could offset this cost even more?
I don't, but Jackie, do you have any idea of what we could get?
I don't know, but I was told there was quite a bit of money in that grant fund. It's a federal fund, and so I'm sure there's an 80-20 match, but they may cover most of it, minus the other grant, obviously.
Yeah, so the goal is really to kind of explain to them why it's so critical, and especially in our county with just our ETA responses sometimes. EMD can really be that game changer, and we could really save lives with it. So I think when we explain the need, I already kind of got the feeling from the Healthcare Coalition that they're like, absolutely, they understand the need for it. So I think that's going to be really helpful to get it going.
And Sarah, as you move forward with that grant application, I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Yes, absolutely. I will be sending it to you for review before I submit it.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions on that one?
Nope. Sounds like a good opportunity.
Yeah, it was not a budgeted expense for this year, so that's why we're pushing hard for different funding sources. So when it comes time to make that decision for an unbudgeted expense, we want that cost as low as possible. All right, if nothing else on Pro QA, we'll move on to item number 5, dispatch SOP updates. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so I'm still working through all of our problem natures to have matching SOPs with them, but all of our problem natures have been updated and they're in our Flex system now, so we can start labeling them more appropriately. I will make sure that the board gets all of those problem natures and a list of them so we can start educating to patrol and to fire and EMS. Hey, these are the natures we have. So it's a slight change in some of the verbiage, like area checks or extra patrols, but making sure we're following kind of the same guidelines, especially if we're switching CAD systems. That way our problem natures will match in that new CAD system. But working through all of our SOPs, we have both problem nature SOPs, but we're also starting to develop our actual center SOPs. So some of those are call handling, answering 911, radio etiquette, Mayday, officer in trouble, ones that aren't related to an actual problem nature, but just how we do things in our center. So some of those have already been completed and signed off on, and that's kind of where we're at on the SOP updates. But I'm still working through getting all the SOPs to match the problem natures, but all the problem natures have been completed and in the system.
That's very helpful.
Yes, for myself.
Cool. Anything else on SOPs? Questions? Nope. Okay. Item number 6, Everbridge updates.
Yeah, so as some of you have probably heard me talk about it already after some of our after action reviews that we've had from the last 2 big incidents. One of the big things was Everbridge as an issue. So I have created every template that you could ever want under the sun. Ones that obviously we would send out to the public. So there are law enforcement, shelter in place, law enforcement evacuations, law enforcement activity in the area kind of notification. And then we have the fire side, which is fire pre-evac, fire mandatory evacuations. We have public health templates. We now have air quality. We've got flood, avalanche, power outage. So pretty much anything that you could think of that we would need to send an emergency notification out, I have created the template for. And with that, we have a specific Everbridge SOP that will be going out to dispatch, which I will make sure, Jeremiah, you get that for the board's review. But essentially, within the first 5 minutes of a bomb threat, sound explosive, threats of any kind, structure or fires of any kind, and then death notification, dispatch is required to send out an Everbridge to basically the authority board and your second in command. So that way, if you guys are out, they have that information. But that's just for kind of like a immediate escalation up so that we know at this level that there's something major going on. And then from there, we can decide, okay, yeah, we need to then send it out to the city and county leadership and give them a heads up of what's happening. And then, hey, we need to now do a briefing with them. So then I've created that Everbridge template all the way up to a full EOC activation. So the way I kind of explained it to Gary with the OEM is this first 5-minute notification is like a level 1 EOC activation because we're all the big players of an EOC center. And then it's just monitoring the situation. Okay, yeah, we confirmed there's nothing going on. And then we can just advise city and county leadership, or nope, we're investigating something. We really need them to be aware so that they're prepared. And so that SOP kind of outlines all of that, as well as the Everbridge. Inside of it, I created the public notifications. So, for example, if there's an active shooter at the school versus an active shooter incident nearby, and we're telling you to shelter in place. So I created both an internal notification templates as well as all the public messaging notification templates. And the SOP really kind of breaks down who's authorized to tell dispatch to send them out, when dispatch sends them out, and that kind of process with Everbridge all in one document. Any questions on it or on the just that notification to the board portion of it?
Good plan.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the goal is we're going to test it. I don't know, Sheriff, if you want to still test it today, or if we want to do a planned day that we test it when I'm in dispatch, and see that process.
Let's wait, one for you to get back, and then also I'd like for all of us to go ahead and send you our second in charge that we would like on that list, including you, Gary. And then that way, when we send that out, it's to the group that we're completely happy with. Does that sound good, Sarah?
Perfect. Yep, that works for me.
And this came about too with our after action review after the school bombing. There's some breaks in communication, city and county leadership, victims of the bomb threats, how it's connected to the schools. And so we came up with this, immediate Everbridge notification to, we're calling it the authority board, but really it's us and our roles outside the authority board. So it's not technically really just like meant for the authority board, because maybe in 10 years it's different players in these roles. Sure. But it's meant for the chiefs, it's meant for the sheriffs to get their eyes on these critical incidents. And so we're all updated immediately of whatever's going on. And we can, and then again, having the second in charge is huge in case we're out on vacation. We can have, fill those gaps. So,
That's huge.
Sarah knocked that out in like a day. So we'll give you the rest of that information, and then we'll do a test.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Any other thoughts on Everbridge stuff?
No, that's a huge improvement.
Yep. All right, move on to item number 7. Dispatcher of the Year nominee and award. Go ahead, Sarah.
Awesome. So we opened it up to our dispatchers, and obviously there was Patrol that had the option to, but I didn't receive anything from Patrol on the dispatcher awards. But several dispatchers were nominated. Out of those, it was Martha, Mary, Hunter, and Daniela all were nominated for Dispatcher of the Year. Some of it was no write-ups or incidents within this last year that since they've been hired on, pretty much, because some of our dispatchers are very new and got hired on in April. And really they had to demonstrate why did they think that person got Dispatcher of the Year. And so it was through a process. I kind of reviewed all of the nominees, and the award recipient is going to be Daniela Duran Gonzalez. And really it's from multiple people kind of stating she come in, cover shifts. She's always very helpful. She's always willing to help not only dispatchers, but the first responders, our jail deputies. And she's always asking questions. And she's very, very clearly demonstrated in just the last few months since I've been hired on her willingness to kind of take on more responsibility, to kind of learn more things. And she really wants to kind of become a really great dispatcher. And she's done that by just stepping up tremendously, not only helping me out, but I've watched her kind of take on other people's shifts and be the first to come in when they've called out. And so I think after reviewing other people's statements about how her character is and how she's helped out the dispatch center, especially these last couple of years, she has gotten the award for Dispatcher of the Year, and I'm very excited for her.
Nice. Nice, very nice.
I agree with that. Danielle is great. I mean, everybody's great, but I really see her stepping up and yeah, especially when we were even before Sarah even got here. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm excited that that's happening.
Right.
That's great.
Me too. All right, the next award, item number 8, here's Call Taker of the Year. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so same process applied with all of that. Call Taker of the Year, we asked our dispatchers to nominate each other. We didn't have as many nominations for Call Taker of the Year, but the 2 that were given was Martha and Mary. And I reviewed both of their incidents on why they were offered Call Taker of the Year. It was very close, and they both really kind of deserved it. But ultimately, Mary is getting Call Taker of the Year reward after her drowning call that she took. And specifically because even though she had just gone through EMD of Colorado training, we didn't have the ability to EMD, but I reviewed the call itself and how calm she stayed, even when that the caller that was calling in was another dispatcher from another agency. She was able to kind of really keep that caller informed why we weren't giving EMD instructions. And ultimately, I think her demeanor on the call shows just how phenomenal of a call taker she is and how much more she'll be after we all get EMD program up and running. I think she's really going to be able to save lives. And so I think she's very deserving of the award.
Excellent. Excellent.
How will you present the awards
just gonna ask,
and where?
So it's tonight.
So
I can speak on that, Sarah. We're doing, we had this law enforcement end of the year celebration with the sheriff's office. It slowly grew into inviting the PD, the DA's office, and dispatch. So I did want on this topic to extend the invitation out to everybody. If you guys have time tonight, it'd be great to have you over at the Freight. We're starting at 5 o'clock tonight. We do have extra seats and extra food too. It's a dinner. Bucci's is catering for us. We have probably still like 10 or 15 plates left. So by all means, if you guys want to come, or even if you just want to come and support the awards ceremony portion, which will take place between 5:30 and 6:30 tonight. After that's dinner. And then after that is, we'll see what happens. But we're going to close the doors at 9 o'clock. So, and that's when Sarah's going to present.
I apologize, I won't be able to make it tonight.
No virtual option.
Yeah.
So sorry to cut you off,
but
Sarah.
to finish out that, so the sheriff saw them. I got plaques and stuff made up for them, and so I'll kind of do a little spiel on why and explain the call that Mary took, and then present those awards to them.
Awesome. Awesome.
Can I attend that too?
Please do. Yeah, that'd be
Where's that
great.
gonna be at?
At the Freight. It's at the Freight.
The Freight?
Yep.
Where's that?
It's on the east
East
side.
9th and
Yeah,
Just north of
I can
Loveland.
get you the address. It's right.
East 9th and Railroad Track.
yeah, that'll work. Yep.
Drive over it and then take a left. Yeah.
Correct.
You guys are invited. Even if you have a significant other you want to bring, we should still have enough folks and to make that work. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Cool. Anything else on awards? No. All right, well, that'll close out new business and discussion. We'll move on to number 5, which is approval of minutes for our December minutes, which Jeremiah sent out earlier, so thanks for doing that.
Yeah, everybody gets a chance to review those?
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Alright, hearing no further discussion, all in favor of approving December minutes?
Aye.
Alright, next meeting date is, February sixth, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that the date you found? Okay, so February sixth, first Friday in February, same time, same place. We'll adjourn this meeting at 10:53 AM. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Boy, when I first saw
thank you
that
all,
agenda,
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's already be here till noon.